Welcome to Photoshop Tip Friday. This week we're going to look at the difference between destructive and non-destructive techniques. This is really something that you need to think about when you're editing images in Photoshop, and whether you're happy to actually damage the original file or whether you want to do things in a way that you can always move backwards and not have any repercussions on the original image itself. What a lot of photographers do when they open an image in Photoshop is that they will copy the background layer and keep a copy of the original file down the bottom here, just in case they need it at any one time. This is a really great way of ensuring that you've got that file there if you need it, and when you're learning is an excellent way of doing things. I'm just going to get rid of that layer that I've just made and show you a way of making changes to this file without actually damaging the image itself. Down on the bottom here we have a thing called adjustment layers, and we can choose from here any of the adjustment layers that we might want to use to make some changes to this. We also have a little box full of adjustments up here, which is exactly the same thing as this little button down the very bottom. So what I'm going to do in here, I'm just going to jump on here to the levels, and I'm going to make a few changes in levels on this particular file. Now I think I might try and give this a little bit more of a vintage feel, so I'm going to sort of desaturate the file a little bit, sort of give it a little bit more of that softer vintagey feel, and maybe just bring the blacks up just a smidgen so that there's still a little bit of definition in there. Best thing about adjustment layers, I can turn them on and off and actually see what it has done to my file. And if I want to make some changes, I can double click into here and I can go backwards and make some changes to that particular file and tweak it as much as I like. Now I can turn it on and off and see what's going on, but this bottom layer, this background layer, has not been physically changed in any way. It's still as it was previously. This is called a non-destructive technique because I'm not physically manipulating any of the pixels. The image is still there, it's just applying an adjustment layer to it so that it gets the effect that I want. Now I'm just going to delete that, actually no, I'll turn that layer off so we can have a look in a second. And I'm just going to copy the background layer so that I can show you the difference between the non-destructive, which we've just done, and a destructive technique. Now a number of people will go up to here and go to our image and adjustments, and we'll pick up levels or curves or whatever in these ones up here. Now these are destructive. These are ones that are going to apply these changes to the actual image that we've selected, or the layer that we've selected with the images on. So let's click on our levels. Let's do sort of the same thing as what we did before. We'll make it a little bit lighter. We'll make it a little bit desaturated, and let's give it a little bit of oomph in the blacks there as well. So we've kind of got what we want here. Now, as soon as I turn this off and I go, oh, you know what, it's a little bit wishy-washy. If I go up to my image and adjustments and levels again, I have nowhere to go because that has applied those changes to this particular layer and has physically changed and altered the pixels and the color of the pixels on that layer. Now because I'm a very careful photographer, I have a layer underneath which is exactly the same, so I can always go back and copy that layer and start again. But it's much easier when you have a layer here where you can just double click and go in and make those changes. I hope that's helped in making a little bit more understanding of the difference between destructive and non-destructive techniques. It's really important when playing around in Photoshop and doing things with your files to have a think about whether you're happy to actually manipulate and change the physical attributes of the pixels, or whether you want something to be applied to it so it's being non-destructive. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.